Hi, I'm John Strohmeyer with Strohmeyer Law, and today we're talking about what is trust funding. So, trust funding is the act of placing assets that are held in one person's name into a trust. Now, we create a lot of trusts in estate planning, and it's not enough to just create the trust. What you also have to do to make sure that any assets are subject to the provisions of a trust agreement is fund the assets into that trust. Now, this can take a lot of different names. So trust funding is the common term we use for it, but also retitling assets or placing assets into trust is another thing you may hear it called. The important part is we want to make sure that the trustee of the trust has control of those assets, and they know that they have control of those assets. Important things to think about. Well, how are we going to do that? How we fund any particular asset will depend on the type of asset. If we're thinking about something like real property, well, we're going to want to file a deed in the property records that say from the grantor, the donor, saying, this is my piece of property, and I'm giving it to the trustee of this trust. Once that's been filed, then the trustee will have the asset, and it will be recorded in the property records so other people will know that the trustee owns it. If it's something like a bank account, we're going to need to call the bank and let them know that the checking account that was formerly in the name of Bill Smith needs to be retitled into the name of the Bill Smith Revocable Trust. Generally, banks are going to require that you sign a new trust or new card to open that bank account. This generally won't involve any particular fees, but there is some time spent working with the bank to get that new account set up. We're not going to need a new tax ID number for the bank or for the new bank account. Just calling the bank and saying, look, this is going from an individual account to a trust account. Please update your records accordingly. They should send you back the new paperwork to make sure that it gets done and reported correctly. That's how you'd want to think about funding in an asset like a bank account. For things like brokerage accounts, you do the same. Call Fidelity, call Prudential, wherever, Merrill Lynch, wherever the custodian is, call them, figure out what paperwork they need to make sure that the account is no longer titled in the name of the individual, but it's been contributed and now is registered in the name of the trust. So again, trust funding is the process of taking assets out of the name of one person and putting them in the name of the trustee that should own it. This, what we'll do will vary based on the asset that's being funded and what needs to happen, but generally it really is just taking the title out of the name of the donor and putting it in the name of the trustee.